Okay, it's rolling. Okay, guys, so seminar number two is our seminar on Cruelty 2015. In literary works, cruelty often functions as a crucial motivation or a major social or political factor. Select a novel, play, or epic poem in which acts of cruelty are important to the theme. Then write a well-developed essay analyzing how cruelty functions in the work as a whole and what the cruelty reveals about the perpetrator and or victim. And I'm going to set the timer on for 12 minutes once again. But before I do that, I'm going to remember to place the microphone where it needs to be. And it is turned on.
Hi, guys.
And Calissa is leading the seminar, so we will say ready, set, begin, Calissa.
Okay, so the way I wanted to take this prompt is similar to the other discussion. So those of you that were in that discussion, it's going to be a similar way of doing it. So I think we should just start out by listing the forms of cruelty that you guys saw or read throughout the novel, and then we're going to just combine and choose one that we can continue our discussion about. So what were some forms of cruelty in the novel?
Well, attempted rape for one.
All right.
And actual murder.
All right.
For a second. It just really shows the extent of human depravity. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah.
I know what you're trying to say.
So, forms of
I saw there was abuse, there was the dead more extreme, which was more, it wasn't so physical, but it was mental, which is just as prominent. And then there was starvation, there was alcoholism as well.
So I just had like the basic layout. So violence, Raskolnikov murdering the pawnbroker and her sister, psychological or mental torture from Porfiry on Raskolnikov, and then the emotional torture that's imposed upon Sofia, because it just seems like everything's going bad for her. Raskolnikov reveals himself to be a murderer, and then Svidrigailov, his interactions with her, she just gets emotionally abused.
So continuing kind of off of what Jake has said, so similar to that, I'd also like to build off the idea, for example, Raskolnikov's paranoia after he murders the pawnbroker. And before that, when he first conceived the idea, when he was talking to the police officer about the pawnbroker, mainly it just the idea and the mental thought of just mainly the pawnbroker being in a way, almost a leech in society, sucking all the money from everybody and not distributing it or helping everybody else out. That in a way almost drove Raskolnikov to, in a way, almost had to kill her in order to try to help better society, which is kind of what we tried to, in a way, establish in the previous seminar.
No, I was going to list some more specific examples.
Let's list more specific.
Yeah. They've mostly all been covered, but I did have the way that Lucian was treating Sonia.
Mm-hmm. We have physical abuse from Katya's husband, and then she passes it on to her children, and that's also.
What about Svidrigailov committing suicide? That's a form of cruelty in itself.
Himself.
He was anything he did was cruel, to other people or to himself.
And then Donya firing a gun at Svidrigailov, even though she didn't kill him, that's still cool.
Isn't it also how from Melodov, he lets his own daughter be a prostitute just because he can't make enough money. He just drinks all the time.
He didn't even care. He took her money that she earned from doing that to go drink.
Yeah.
So he literally did not care at all.
To his own fault, he's an alcoholic in 19th century Russia, so I don't think I could really blame him. But in a way, yeah, he's a terrible person.
Bouncing off that is Christian saying the 19th century Russia thing is that society as a whole was kind of cruel, the intense poverty and all these different acts of violence that are going on, either intentionally or not, like Mark Melodov's trampling. Not really intentional, but it was such a big thing that happened.
A lot of poverty. It's cold too.
So, is there one that you think stands out above the rest?
Well, the book is about the murder.
The murder.
The murder.
I would
For
agree.
sure.
So can we
It
like
was
continue the
very
discussion about that?
Yeah.
So
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna move on to question 2. So what were the impacts? I mean, there's a ton, but list some impacts that like the murders had on other characters, not just Raskolnikov.
Okay, well, those 2 women died.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Probably affected their family.
I'd say that also, like, Raskolnikov didn't tell his mother about the murders, of course, but she kind of, like, figured it out on her own, and I think that really, like, played a role on her insanity and stuff. So.
I'm gonna go, like, everyone was pretty traumatized about this, not only Raskolnikov because of how gruesome it was and how far he had to go, but also because of, like, the mom figured out, like, oh my god, my son did this, her brother did that, his best friend, like, everyone who was really close was like, holy crap, like, I didn't think someone would be capable of this.
It also affected just levels of society in general because it caused random fear because someone randomly just killed some girls.
yeah, and on top of what she said, the what's his name? The guy who confessed but didn't actually do it.
Nikolai.
Yeah, it also affected him.
Yeah. So, actually, going off of what you were saying, that actually has to do with the next question. The byproducts socially or politically. I'm gonna actually go ahead and say one. I think just the fact that the whole town was talking about it. That was the thing that people were talking about. Like, you go to a bar and people were like, yo, did you hear about the murders? You know, and that affected the whole town. So I think that was a big byproduct of, like, the murders. Was there
I thought it
anything
was a lot more social than political. I mean,
Mhm.
politically, there was just the time it was poverty. People were like last resort. Everything was just kind of hitting the fan at that point. But I think socially, it was more. That's what it affected it.
Yeah.
Because it was in everybody's mind. It was what the whole town was talking about. There was gossip. Everyone was getting framed, and they didn't do it. And like Mr. Jones said at the time, like if you were framed for murder, like that was it. Whether you did it or not, you were going to jail.
Is there anything else?
Actually, that was Mr. Smith who
Yeah.
said that.
Oh, yeah.
He contributed that to my understanding. So just wanted to acknowledge him.
As far as the social byproducts, the most or the largest impact is sort of the mental dissonance that creeps into Raskolnikov and Nikolai, and then the satisfaction that goes to Porphyry from questioning them. Like, it's the mentality of all these people that we see in the story sort of change. Like, even Razumikin's like perspective of Raskolnikov change. It's just a lot of thought process that happened after the crimes that really changed everyone.
Yes. Okay, so going back to question 3, how did the murders function as a motivation for Raskolnikov? Like, do you think they motivated him to do anything? Do you think they motivated him to keep it a secret, or motivated him to do it more? Like,
I think one of the forms of cruelty, like mental, one of the dreams, I think that was a motivator too, because he was like, should I not? He had the dream and he was like, I'm kind of capable of this. And then because of his theory about like how a better man, someone said it before, like how a better man should be able to do something like this if he feels like it betters society. So that kind of pushed him to do that.
I think after that, the main thing on his mind 24/7 was not getting caught, so he would do whatever he had to do to not get caught.
Yeah, he was basically a
Like
thought
guess
experiment that went wrong and backfired on him. And now he's in the state and he is now, like in prison, so.
just don't murder
And I think
guys.
people
Yeah.
kind of fell into that, like, whether you commit it, you kind of like, oh, I'm capable of this, so I'm going to fall into the role of being cruel and moralist.
Yeah.
So almost in a way, kind of relate to last semester, like that. He was almost like he was purposely deceiving everybody, which we were already established in the previous seminar. He was mainly just acting ill, or in a way became ill, both mentally and physically, and also psychologically too, over the fear of getting exposed. And it really came to highlight when Porphyry was over there interrogating him and Nikolai and other people who were at the murder scene later in the novel, as when it comes around.
So you guys already kind of been talking about it, but how does cruelty or how is cruelty important to the major themes of the novel? And I listed 3, but like there's plenty of other themes. I just thought these were kind of like, they went with cruelty well, and you could like talk about them. So if anyone wants to start, you can start any 3, or any one of the 3.
For shame and guilt, said, pretty often it comes after cruel acts. So the suicide, the attempted rape, the regret and fear after the murder, it comes naturally after you commit an act of cruelty if you have basic, human emotions.
So for the violence, there would be Raskolnikov from Monroker and his sister with an axe. So.
That's pretty much.
For morality, all the different forms of cruelty in the story, but most especially the murder, like, we were questioning what drove the character, like, what their morality was until it was revealed towards the Porphyry questioning. Like, Raskolnikov still, in the beginning, he seemed to have, like, pure morals-ish, but, like, he flip-flopped throughout the novel, and I think the biggest example of that was when the girl who seemed drugged was walking down the street or something, and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna help this person, got the police officer to defend her against that old guy, and then just suddenly out of nowhere he just flip-flopped and he was like, you wanna know what, just let the dude take her, it's not my place. So it really developed the theme of morality, because we got to see how Raskolnikov evolved throughout the novel. Like, when he went from this, he seems good, but he's flip-flopping at all these turns to, okay, he just killed 2 people, and this is how he's dealing with it. We got to see the evolution of his mindset.
So where do you think it ended?
He seemed to end up seeing that he wasn't a greater man, and then he realized, okay, I've been doing the wrong thing. But it also seemed like he had to do it, because he was like mentally distressed at the beginning of the book too. He was like, should I kill these people, should I not? And it was almost as if he didn't murder those 2 people, that same mental distress would follow through the rest of his life. And then after murdering them, of course, he had that period of insanity and sickness and just those awful, I don't know how long it was. It seemed in the novel like it was only 5 or 6 days, maybe a week. But that awful period of time, and then he eventually confessed and he realized that he was wrong, and his morality seemed to be corrected or fixed, or he seemed dead set in his morality at the end of the epilogue.
Because it humbled him. And kind of going off what he said in the beginning about how, like, he tried to help a girl who was drugged, and then the police officer, he was like, the police officer was just going to give her back to the old guy. I think he resented society a lot in the beginning, and that's where the theory came from in the first place. Like, he wants to be good, but he hates society, so in a way he's just giving up. And what if the theory was like his last kind of, what if society could be good, could it be bad? He's just trying to test it out and find out, but then in the end he loses morality. He has to go through this huge journey to like get it back.
Yeah, going off of that, I think he argues that the pawnbreaker like didn't do any good for the society, and therefore her death like has no consequence. But he also admits later on that he didn't understand himself why he did the crime.
I think since one of his biggest flaws was thinking that he was better than everyone, and like, I think that, okay, it didn't help killing people, but through this, if that didn't happen, he'd probably be the same
Kind of like
person he was.
Yeah.
So he needed to commit those
Because
murders.
otherwise he was going to have
It's really
the...
hard
Which is-
to think morally. Like, for him himself, he had to commit this murder. Like, you shouldn't.
Like he convinced
you shouldn't
himself.
do that.
Well, because otherwise he was going to be stuck in that moral limbo that he was in at the beginning. Like, he would be stuck in that flip-flop state for the
So
rest
then
of his
maybe,
life.
in a way, maybe he was like a better man or whatever because he did commit this crime and like, oh, it freed me. So
He became a better man, but he wasn't. I think the theory was talking about was a greater man, and he realized that he wasn't a greater man in society. But he became a better man through the story, and all it took was murdering 2 people, a week of torture, and eventually 7 years of prison.
And I think that closes our Socratic session. Don't murder, guys.
How we feel?
Yeah.
Good? Okay, great. How'd they do, observers? Pretty good.
observers, you do get points that I weigh into your grade for making observer comments. So, for instance, Rose and Caleb, and who's the third person? Alyssa. Right? I made a note of the fact that, and somebody else, Hunter. I made a note of the fact that you guys did have some comments for the participants. So, anybody want to begin, Charlie?
I thought the conversation itself was really similar to the first seminar in that it flowed and there wasn't any awkward silences. And the content was good. I don't know about the last point.
Honestly, I actually agree. Like, I enjoyed the last comment in all honesty. It's like, it's a bittersweet victory for us, but we thought in a bitter way, in a certain way, as well as seeing story about how he was in society. So, in a way, we can relate to that because look at how our society is functioning at the moment. It's like, we are capable of all of this, like how Audrey was stating previously, but what are we doing with it? So, should we be trying to be better people, or should we just give in to the way society is turning into and just let
Nice. I'm actually I just realized we didn't probably get those two nice comments from Charlie and Tati, but I'll do a better job of circulating. Audrey.
I thought that the discussion about society and the cruelty of the time period itself was really interesting because that wasn't something that I was really in tune with when I was reading the book. I definitely disagreed with the last point, but that's just a personal thing.
I think the book was kind of a trap because of that.
Yeah, and that's an interesting set of discussions. It's sort of like, who are we to blame? Are we to blame the person who identified the problem in the book, namely Jake? No, I'm joking, of course. Or can we say that there's something wrong aesthetically with the suggestion on Dostoevsky's part that in some way just the fact that Raskolnikov gets to be a better man, right? But that still doesn't really erase all of the suffering that he's caused. But I think that we're all making these sort of remarks in good humor, right? Because I think that's just one of the ironies. For me, I mean, that's one of the ironies that's permanent in literature. The fact is, when literature is a comment on life, but in the end, it is not life. It is a simulacrum or an imitation of life. So, anybody else? Garrett.
All right. So, wait, what was the whole theory that you guys were discussing about, like, Raskolnikov's reason behind his the murders? Like, what was he trying to prove?
In the beginning, we had this theory that, like, if you're a great man, right, and he's got this high self-esteem, he should be able to commit crimes or do whatever he wants if he feels like it betters society just because he's better than everyone else. And he's got this theory that, like, if I kill her, I'll be a hero, like, I'll free everybody, and I'm just this awesome person.
I think that his theory was, like, he had the idea of there was an ordinary man and there was an extraordinary man, and he wanted to prove himself being an extraordinary man by being able to commit those crimes and then being justified by him being an extraordinary man. Like, they're not bad because he did it to help society and greater society, I guess.
Isn't it the road to hell is paved with good intentions?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Hunter.
So I liked how everyone kind of started pitching in like ideas towards the end about how Raskolnikov wanted to be a great man or thought of himself as a great man, but then had to go into murdering these girls and then going into a psychological state where he has to find himself again. And I liked how everyone was just pitching in ideas about how that led to him becoming a better man towards the end of the novel.
Nice. Guys, I'm going to close things off because the period is ending in a few minutes. Keep it rolling though, Cole. I just want to say, I mean, this is why I do Socratic seminars. We didn't have Socratic seminar, this type of technique, back when I was a student. And it's just sort of like I'm now benefiting from 27 other readers. And I've learned so much just from this discussion. I mean, some of the major points that all of you have brought up, I'm more capable at writing and speaking about crime and punishment than I was an hour ago. And I hope some of us feel the same way, because I think this is super valuable activity. Give yourselves another round of applause. Okay, Cole, you can cut it.